I need permission to share the screen.
Yeah, you can share it screen.
Can anybody hear me? Everybody hear me? Everybody can see my screen?
Yep, we can hear you.
Indeed.
Great. So from shift left to automation. What I would like to talk about you today is why shift left. Just a second, the videos. Why the shift left is a crucial move for us and how we did it. I'm sure some of you are already after this transmission, some of you is during, some of you is after, is in the early stage of the shift left. But no matter where you are, it all depends of, I would like more to share about the experience, and maybe you can learn something and get some insight of our own process and our own story of how we did it. And maybe you can take some insight from us and from our team and for your team to how we do it. So, so to everybody who haven't yet met me or haven't worked with me, I'm Netanel or Nathaniel. It all depends how you most likely to pronounce it. I lead the QA team at the Israeli site. And I would like to take with you a short tour of where did we start and how this is all happened. When we start in the mobile team, we start in like early big egg, early small egg statement, when we have a different squad team to each platform, which means we have a small group of iOS developers, a small group of Android developers, and a small group of QA that test it all. Then we have only the early state of study app. And then when we have more apps and more products, we grew up and we evolved to the Scrum team we are today. So today, we have, for each Scrum team, there are 2 platforms. In each platform, we have 3 Android developers, 3 iOS developers, and 1 QA who still needs to do all the manual tests. Now think, each developer is working on 1 feature. So the QA needs to test 3 features on 2 platforms. Now you do the math, how much time it will take to test it all. Think of the regression of this test. Each time we add more features and the regression is getting bigger and bigger. And it's just became a time consuming, and the QA can become like a bottleneck. We all have to wait for the QA to finish all the regressions. By the way, just for common knowledge, now in the regression, we have just for Big Egg, we have 644 tests that need to run on both Android, iOS, and also iPads. So what do you think the obvious solution could be for this problem? The obvious solution will be, of course, automation, but who has to take the time to automate when you have all this manual tests? So regression alone takes like 3 days out of the sprint for each platform. And for each feature, we also have to add manual test, and we have also to write the test cases for all that. So before starting to think of automation, we need to adapt another feature, another small process to it, the shift left. So we need to shift left and then automate. What happened in shift left is that we take all the test tasks and we moved it slight left in the process, and we do it for every step in the development process. So we do all the tests a little bit sooner, and it doesn't mean that the QA needs to do all the testing effort. The QA is leading by the quality team, but they are not drowning by it. The developers and the QA share the same process, and they are working together in one team and in collaboration. No more separate process for QA and development, and no more QA as a bottleneck. We are all aligned into one workflow. And I want to share with you the workflow we are sharing. I share with some of you already in the working groups. The workflow, this workflow works for most of our team, and they are orchestrated like from here to there, but this is the baseline of our process here in Israel. For each spec or each version, there are QA tasks and there are dev tasks. I deliberately say QA task and not QA people, and dev task and not dev people, because the people themselves do both QA tasks and development tasks. So When we have a QA task, the QA has to write the test cases. The QA alone has the experience and the criminal mind to find the most interesting and efficient test cases that can test the feature. But we still do QA to QA. The test cases has been reviewed by another QA peer and another developer to make sure we didn't miss anything in the process. Then come the collaboration process. The QA and the developer sit together and thinking which of all these lists of tests will run as a one-time thing as a part of the dev QA process, and I will get into it shortly. And which of the tests will become part of our repetitive cycle, which means the smoke test, the integration test, the regression test. And from this test, which test will become integration, which test will become end-to-end test. We work on them on two different platforms. So for now, the QA also writing the end-to-end test. In my vision, the QA will also write the integration test. We write in the mobile team, we write the integration test. For Android, we write them on Espresso, and for iOS, we write them on XUI test. As for the developer, we didn't forget you guys. When they move to feature branch, of course, they need to do all the tasks that have to be done for the feature to be made. But also, we expect them to write the unit test. For now, the integration test. Of course, they will have a code review. We are not waiting for the demos for the Scrum rituals. We are not waiting for the retro to review the feature when it's ready. As the minute the feature is ready to display, the developer summon a meeting with the product manager, with the QX, with the QA, and review the feature and make sure that all the criteria has been met. And the developer by himself run all the tests that the QA has been written one by one manually to make sure he didn't miss anything. And there will be bugs, he will fix them. And by that action, we're saving a lot of precious time, lots of ping pong between the development and the QA, lots of bug opening time consuming, lots of obvious bug that usually been found in this process. You will find it much more sooner and much much earlier before you match the develop. And after all these tasks are been done, it doesn't matter in which order. That's why it's all in sort of a cloud. We manage to develop to the main branch. The main branch is being triggered automatically with the sanity automation test. During that time, when we have a build ready, the QA is running exploratory test. In this time, he uses his own intuition, his own, again, criminal mind to find the hidden bug, to find the leakage bug, and to increase the quality, to make sure to have a human eye testing everything. And only when everything has been done, then we can say the feature is done. And we can say it with lots of confidence. So you probably ask yourself, what is in it for me? What is it in it for me as a developer from shift left? What is in it for me as a QA? Well, lots. As a developer, you don't develop bugs and fix them. You are simply developing high quality features. Furthermore, you're transforming yourself from a developer to a super developer who doesn't write bugs. You develop flawless features and flawless version. You gain more solidarity in the team. You finally also get to benefit from having automation pipelines. As a QA, I think it's obvious. You finally get to deep dive into the feature, find the real hidden bugs inside each version and each feature. And more importantly, finally, you get the time to write and maintain automation tests. And not just that, you get more stable builds, no more obvious bugs between each version, and much less ping pong bugs between development and QA. And more importantly, you are no longer a bottleneck. It's all a shared process that's happening in your own team, and nobody waiting for you specifically to finish your task. To make sure this process is maintained and we live by it, to make sure we live by it, we're not teaching it only to ourselves. Each time any new team members is joined to our site, rather if it's a developer, engineering manager, a QA engineer, it's all this shift left process is being taught as part of the onboarding process to everybody who joins our team. In this way, we finally managed to transform and convert the QAs to QEs. We finally have quality assurance personnel turned from manual tester to developers. We did not change the people. We changed the way of we are working and thinking. And I think that alone is a huge thing. So you remember our dream, the automation? Now we can get right into it. With Shift Left, we had the time to create a marvelous automation tool, and we worked together to create this tool that does lots of things. Among of them, beside the test, it's just a tool that it's easy to create coverage. It's easy to create coverage because it has been built to work with the same code on both Android and iOS. I think it's two different components, two different elements. And when we run it, the system knows on which device it's run, and we run the same code lines to each different platform, and it's amazing achievement. So that's what's make it much more easier to maintain. And we run all our tests on browser stack, which means each test is run on at least 50 different devices. And that's huge achievement, and it increased our quality tremendously. And furthermore, we get a very clear and excellent report, and we are quite proud on our report. And I would like to take a little bit of your time to elaborate of them. So our report is not generated to our email, it's generated to the Slack channel. Each time the developers create a merge request, or we have a daily pipeline. For each merge request, a smoke test is being run, and for each day, a regression is being run for our last build on browser stack. Every time a pipeline is being triggered, rather if it's for MR or for daily, if there's something wrong, the developer, we always get like the message. If something is wrong, the developer gets a mention inside of the Slack message, so they know that something is wrong and you need to investigate. You can see for each message, how many tests there are, how many failures, how many skips, and a link to the full reports. Inside the reports, you can see the exact test flow, the exact test case that can be reproduced manually, and therefore to see how to reproduce the bug. Inside the test case, you will find all the real data that has been used in that test, which means username, the password, the real data that has been used, the API calls, everything that you need to know, and also on which device it has been run, which OS of the device, which vendor, the test log, the device log, the video from browser stack, everything you need to know to find the root cause of the problem.
Netanel, just a quick check. We have 5 minutes to wrap up.
I will wrap up in less. So given all that, do you think are we there yet? When we finish to create our automation process, we still have lots of ground to cover, which means we have lots of coverage to do. So what we do to minimize this up, we create an automation hackathon, which means autothon. For 2 days straight, all the QA teams sat together and create and maintain lots of tests and fix flaky tests. So no meetings, no kids, no distribution, no distraction. We all sit down, just eating and coding. We worked together for 2 whole days, and it was also productive and also fun. We could help each other, and easily we covered lots of ground, and that was amazing achievement and create a huge boost. What's next, you're asking yourself? So besides coverage, we also want to insert the accessibility into our pipeline and make it as an automatic process. Also, we want to make sure our UI doesn't break. We have lots of devices to cover, and now we have localization. We want to know our UI is stable and robust and doesn't break due to these changes. If the device has different size, different vendor, or different language, it will remain the same and will not break, and we'll use API tools to cover that. Besides that, we want also to add the analytic. We want to create instrumentation tests. We want to add the analytic test also to become an automation process and be part of our pipeline. Also, I don't have a slide for that, but we are going to add end-to-end test to Mathway mobile application, and we also add them to our pipelines. So all that transformation from manual to automation was possible when we start to make the team owning quality and really care. Everybody from each team to each task, which means all these automation tools that we managed to create serve both developers and QA the same way. We are all part of one team. We're working for the same goals, writing code and testing ourselves. Doesn't matter if I'm QA or developers, all to increase our quality regardless. And we all care for our quality, and that means we care for our app, we care for our students. Given that, having any questions?
Netanel, I do see some questions posted in the chat, but given the constraint of time, if you please reply to them over.
Please feel free to
Yeah.
to me in Slack.
Amazing, and I guess we can share the slides with the participants as well. So moving forward, we'll move on to our next speaker. Do we have Rivika over here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Rivika will going to discuss about the creative retrospective processes. So yeah, over to you, Rivika.
Okay.